Our guest today is an artist and graduate of Pacific Northwest College of Art. Sasha loves single-player narratives, character-driven stories, and fantasy. The conversation today is centered around gender fluidity, and other elements taking place in our ever-changing world. Sasha is a smart, opinionated, sarcastic, and hilarious human being, and I had a wonderful time hearing their perspective on a bunch of topics. I hope you enjoy. Here's my friend, Sasha Firpo. I have to start this one a little differently.
Okay.
Because I think we are potentially going to talk about things that could be offensive to some people.
Okay.
And my intention is not to offend you.
Okay.
Or offend anyone that you know or anyone that's alive in the world.
Okay.
It's simply to understand things.
Okay.
And hear your perspective. And so I might say some stuff that sounds stupid, but I don't mean anything by it. I just am questioning.
Okay.
So I don't mean any offense if I say something ridiculous. The weird thing about being, I'm 38 years old. The weird thing about being a 38-year-old man is that I don't feel like I am old, but I'm definitely of a different generation. And when you begin to question what younger people are doing and you don't understand it, then you feel old.
I already do that.
Do you? How old are you?
24.
24. Okay. To me, I always think about like when Elvis came out and all the young girls and guys thought he was incredible, thought he was amazing. And all he's doing is shaking his hips on TV. And the parents were freaking out. He was like a sex symbol. He was like some crazy thing that no one past a certain age could understand. And that to me is the disconnect. Once you start saying, why do people do this? Or why do people enjoy this? Then you have reached that point where you're like, you're of a different generation. And so the reason, I mean, I don't know exactly what we're going to talk about, but one of the reasons that you're here and that I wanted to ask you questions is involving gender and pronouns and fluidity and all that kind of stuff that's happening because it seems to be more prevalent now than, this was not something, I've been out of high school for 20 years. This was not something that was a thing back then. And so I'm not trying to discredit anything that's happening. I'm just trying to understand, because I understand being gay and I understand loving a person, loving an animal. I have friends that are gay. I have an uncle that's gay. When you love someone, it doesn't matter what their gender is to me. I understand that. But the thing that's happening now where people can switch like day to day, that does not make sense to me. So am I going anywhere you want to go? Like, do you understand what I'm saying? Like, can I ask you questions about that?
Yeah, you can ask me questions about that.
So what is your perspective on all that?
On just gender in general?
Sure.
It's like, I feel like right now when so much information is like at your fingertips and you kind of are able to communicate with everybody across the world, our kind of experiences are expanding. We know more about who we are. We know that we're not solitary in how we feel. And with gender, it's different for everyone. For sure, if someone is she, they, how they identify in the day, like in they, them, how non-binary they feel is completely different from someone else who might be she, they. It's a way of like, for example, I don't know if my mom told you, but I'm gender fluid, so I don't mind if you call me by any pronoun.
Okay.
And it's just sort of like it's like a comfort thing. It's just like, for me anyway, it's like I don't care how you identify me. I don't care if I'm a she or a they or a he. I can be anything of those. I feel feminine some days. I feel masculine other days. I feel like nothing other days. And it's just like a way of being. It's just something that like people feel better about. It's just like sexuality. It's a lot more complicated than sexuality because it's not necessarily external. It's all internal. It's how you feel about yourself.
Okay. Do you understand why it's difficult for some people to understand that, though?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. I think the issue comes from when you seem very open-minded and you just said you don't care what somebody calls you. You're not going to get upset about it. But there are a lot of people who do get upset about it.
Right.
I know a person who is in 8th grade, and he tells me that there's like this group of mean girls who switch day to day, and he's cool with it. He doesn't care. He just wants to learn. But they have different expectations for their teachers. And if their teachers don't know who they are that day and they call them the wrong pronoun, then they freak out and it creates a scene. And that seems more counterproductive than anything, you know?
Yeah, I don't like. For me, I'm in a place where a bunch of us are adults and we're kind of like adjusting to what we're comfortable with. I feel like when you're younger, it is a day-to-day thing. You don't know what the hell's going on, and I'm just gonna say it, like at 8th grade, you're just mean. Like you're just mean to authority figures. You don't care what they think. Everything offends you. At least I was a horrible 8th grader. I'm not gonna lie. So I kind of get it, but at the same time, it's like when people get mad about the pronoun thing, it's more because, at least in my circle, it's you say, hey, this is who I am. I'm they, them, and I'm non-binary, and I don't associate with either gender. And I would really like it if you would make sure that when you refer to me in conversation, it's they, them. And when you set those expectations and when someone doesn't say they, them, then it becomes, yes, it's hurtful because you set those expectations. But I feel like when you're younger and you don't have that sort of capability to have a mature conversation about it, then it really is less on the people that are trying to figure that out than you not communicating it.
Sure. The difficult thing about that pronoun, though, is that it had a different meaning until recently. Mm-hmm. So it's like hijacking a word from the English language. It's like repurposing the or repurposing sidewalk, or like they had a definitive meaning. It meant a group of people. So that's why me and some other people get confused if you're supposed to use that for an individual, because it means a group. Okay.
But when you don't know what a person is, when the person isn't identified, you will still use they.
Okay.
They is still a singular pronoun. It's still something that people use when they don't know who they're talking about. Okay. I think it's still used in conversation and not associated with a group. Okay. I think it's just that now that people are using it for a single person, people are suddenly like, oh, we never used they in this way before. How can we keep up?
Yeah.
So, for example, like if we're talking about some like random employee and I don't know who they are, I'm going to say, oh, that random employee, they, blah, 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 blah. It's part of conversation.
Okay.
If you don't know what their gender is, usually people use they and they don't even notice.
So, where are we going to go with it? Is everybody just going to become a they? And then you don't have to worry about addressing anybody as a he or she. And then it's safe.
No, not at all.
No?
I mean, I would say they, them is probably like the safe quote unquote pronoun to use. But like generally you should just ask. That's what we do. We just go, what are your preferred pronouns? Usually when you're introducing yourselves to one another, then it's easy. Like people still go by he, people still go by she. They is just something that's included now. There's other pronouns that I won't even go into, but
yeah, do you mind going into those? Because I've heard of some things and I don't know that much about it, obviously, from the way I'm talking to you. Why are there so many?
I don't know. I personally don't know because he, she, they is generally the three things that are like everyone unanimously uses. I don't think I can come from a place of understanding or intellectually even know about when it comes to other pronouns. I just know that other people use them, and I know that they're not as common. It's just a way that people refer to themselves, and I just am trying to be respectful. I don't have any insight about the other ones. I just know that they're not used as much.
Okay. And at what point in your life, because, see, I don't even know if this is a correct thing to ask you. Like, what were you born as? Is that okay to ask? Okay, what were you born as?
I'm a female.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at what point in your life did you figure out that you could be either?
So in college, it was like, so a lot of the time it's like something that, for example, with my asexuality, it's just something that you're just sitting with, and you don't know that it's different. You don't know that it's like, that's like a different experience. You don't like, I was like okay with she all my life, and then I realized, oh, when I heard my classmates talking, I have their experiences. I know what it's like to be okay with just being non-binary, not having that sort of association with any gender. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, I'll be she, they. Like I just got it because I got to hear everybody's other experiences and realized, oh, I have the same one. And then the past couple of years, I realized, oh, it doesn't even need to be she, they. I'm okay with being him too. I'm okay with being masculine on that end as well. And a bunch of my friends call me he now too, which is so like, oh my God, because I never expected anyone to do that for me, since obviously I present super female. So
yeah, I don't mean to disrespect you, but you look female.
Right.
So that's what's confusing to an idiot like me, is that I would see you and I would assume you're female.
Yeah, I know.
And so that's why it's hard. That's why it's weird territory. You get that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why you can't assume. That's why now it's probably better to just, when you're introducing yourselves, to generally ask. I mean, there's going to be people that are like, why are you even asking me? I'm obviously she, her. But generally the social conduct now is, hey, just in case, like, how do you identify yourself?
Okay.
And that's all you need to do.
Okay. Yeah, because personally for me, like, I don't care what people think I am. There's like this running joke with everyone who knows me. Everyone always calls me the wrong name. I'll introduce myself, and I've been called Corey and Courtney and Colby and like so many different names. Nobody can remember Cody for whatever reason. And so I try to liken it to that. Like, if somebody can't remember your name, like, it really doesn't bother me that much. I just think it's kind of ridiculous. But I understand that this is a thing that is happening, and you and tons of other people obviously feel passionate about it. And I think the main goal for everybody is just to like hang out and have a good time and not cause issues.
Yeah, and feel good in their own bodies. And
yeah.
Just like, yeah, a lot of pronouns definitely come from a lot of the trans experience and just not feeling right in your body. And it's all about just finally having what you need from other people.
Okay, so that's a cool thing to think about. So imagine that you could be a stereotypical male or female at any moment. You could just snap your fingers and you would switch. Is that something that you or the people you know would do?
I would love to do that.
Yeah.
I know that a lot of my friends would just be super happy to have the perfect like female body or whatever. It's just, we can't obviously have that sort of power, but it's definitely something that people would want. And that's why a lot of trans people really like the cyberpunk genre, because it's like all about, you know, modifying your body in the way you want and the way you want it to look like.
Okay. Well, yeah, I think that's where the metaverse is going, right? Because you can be whatever you want.
Oh God, the metaverse is so stupid.
Did I just make you mad?
It makes me mad because it's like all these 40-year-old tech people being like, oh my God, we just discovered the metaverse, when all of us have been on like fucking MMOs for like 20 years or whatever. And we've been doing the same shit that they're like saying it's all new. It's like, okay, well, we've been on MMOs where you get to create your own character. You get to be who you are. You get to run social stuff all the time. Like, all right, glad you guys figured that out, even though these games have been out for like 30 years. Good for you.
What's an MMO?
So an MMO is it's an acronym. It's something like
I can look it up.
Okay.
MMO champion World of Warcraft?
Well, yeah, World of Warcraft is like the MMO everyone thinks of, but it's massive multiplayer online. That's what it stands for.
Okay.
And basically, it's just like a game in which you can be with a lot of people online. It like holds servers of just shit tons of people, and so you can just do a bunch of content with a bunch of people online, and that has been around for forever.
Well, you know why 40-year-olds care about the metaverse, right?
Why?
Because they can make money.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why anyone cares about the metaverse right now. Because it's the next thing where, I mean, Nike has purchased companies that are making digital sneakers for the metaverse. You can buy land in Decentraland and other places. You're shaking your head. It's going to be wild.
It's going to be stupid is what it is.
I think it's really fucking stupid too, but I think that's where it's going.
I mean, everyone in my generation thinks it's stupid. Oh, good for them, I guess, but...
But if that's what society does, then you have to get involved.
I know.
There are going to be people that just have jobs that just like wear VR goggles in their living room and they go to their job in the metaverse and they like sell...
Hey, that's awesome. I don't have to leave my house.
Yeah, no, that's what's going to happen. But all this coincides with all these in my opinion, with all the gender stuff that's happening, because when you're in that virtual world...
Or you could be whoever you want.
You could be whoever you want, right? And so is that, not to like put words in your mouth, but is that like your ultimate goal? If you could just be anything you wanted at any point, like right now you could be male and you could have muscles like The Rock and you could have like awesome hats and shit, like, you know?
I mean, yeah, definitely it would be really nice to have that sort of accessibility, but at the same time, it's not real, and we all know that it's not real. It's really important for us to feel okay in our own bodies. And like that's... I don't know for sure, but I do know that, like it.
But if we live in the virtual world, who cares what your body looks like? You get to be whatever you want.
All the time? You're still going to log off at the end of the day.
But that's what I don't know. I don't know. Maybe you just go to sleep in the metaverse. I don't know.
How are we all going to maintain that?
I don't even know.
You're going to have IVs in our arms?
I don't know.
Okay.
It's so weird. It's like a significant change for human evolution. I'm not quite sure what's going to happen, but there are a lot of people who are like trying to figure out how to make money on it.
Well, I'm more worried about climate change, but I'm glad that they're uploading our brains into the metaverse. Good for them.
Yeah, well, I mean, climate change is a thing, but I guess if you're in an air-conditioned house, then you don't have to go anywhere. You don't care.
It's going to get pretty bad, I'm sure.
Oh, no, it will. It will. Okay, so you were in college and was this something that you just naturally came upon, like within your body, like, or was it influenced by the people you were hanging out with? Like what allows that to happen? Because I've read books that offer the idea that it in some ways has become fad. And there are, don't get me wrong, I truly believe there are people that are born in the wrong body. Totally. I think it's a very small percentage of the population. There is evidence in some of these books that I've read that it's kind of like a thing that a group of people do together. And I mean, what do you think about that? Are the majority of your friends the same position as you?
Yeah. I would say that it could be a fad, kind of like how straight girls are like, oh, maybe I'll be bi, maybe I'll kiss a girl, you know? I can see that happening, but everybody in my circle, everybody I know that's LGBT takes great pains with it. It's not something that they decide willy-nilly. It's something that they need to do. It's something that ruins their life. It's something that breaks apart their family, makes it super difficult for them to even look in their parents' eyes. It's not something that people necessarily want to do as much as something that they need to do. It's something that needs to come from them, needs to change them, needs to make them feel better about how they're living in their own body. Okay. And I don't think it's a fad for the people that are really serious about it, because they wouldn't go through so much pain otherwise.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Do you feel like the majority of the people that you know, and yourself included, do you feel happier when you're being you and you can become either and you're fluid? Like, you feel happy in that?
Yeah.
Do you think there's a possibility at some point that you would say, I did that for 10 years. I feel like I'm female now. Like, do you think that's a possibility that you could just become one?
It's always a possibility.
Yeah.
Gender is completely fluid. That's the whole thing. There's a bunch of studies on it. It's a completely huge spectrum, and you can change over the course of your life. You can know more about yourself later down the line, and it could become more clear to you. A lot of the time, it's just something that you're trying to explore and trying to understand and trying to... It's like, here, I'm going to put these labels on myself, and I'm still figuring it out. And right now, that feels good to me. But maybe 5 years later, I realize, oh, shit, maybe I'm not a trans male. Maybe I'm just not binary. Maybe I'm not actually, like, associating with male anymore. I'm just who I am. I'm completely absent of either. It's just, it's always growing. It's always changing. It's always shifting.
I get that 100%, because I am a different person than I was a year ago. I'm a different person than I was 10 years ago. I'm absolutely a different person than I was when I was 18. I'm constantly changing. So I can relate to that. The point where it gets a little sticky is if you go through the trouble, like the physical act of switching. You have surgery.
Right.
And then you find out maybe that wasn't right. That has got to be the worst, right? Like what you're talking about, you haven't physically altered yourself, right?
Right.
And you are figuring things out, and you feel happy right now with who you are, which is awesome. You haven't done anything physically. But for some of the people that think that's what they want and then they make that change, that's got to be crazy to figure out later. You're like, oh, maybe that wasn't right.
From my perspective, from everyone that I know, from everyone that has made that decision, has put the money into it, has decided that they will do it, has never regretted the decision.
Really?
It's something that people think a really long time about, and it's something that they are very careful around, and I've never heard anyone regret it. It's something that they really need to do, and so they do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a significant commitment.
Yeah.
To do that. I mean, the financial aspect, and I don't know, the bummer to me is just that it would suck so bad to feel like you were born in the wrong body.
It's horrible.
Yeah, that's got to be the fucking worst.
Yeah, the body dysmorphia makes people completely suicidal. It makes them unable to look at themselves. It's completely damaging. Mm-hmm. And the only way that they feel like they can continue on is to change in the way that they need to.
Mm-hmm. So do you think that as time goes on and we learn more about ourselves, that this will become a broader aspect of life? Like there'll be more people that just kind of go back and forth?
I don't know. I feel like it's really new now. But even like, I feel like it's really new because we weren't really allowed to think this way before. It's interesting because it's like I came across like a YouTube of a guy that realized he was asexual like in his 50s. And it's sort of like, hey, I'm going through my whole life in this little box and I don't know anything outside this little box. But then because we're all exploring these things and because it's becoming something that people are able to know, able to associate with, able to realize and connect with, you sort of have this access and realization into, oh, maybe I am these things. And I think that I don't think that, you know, people that are just simply a dude are going to go away. Like, they're not going to go away. But I feel like because there's more openness to everything, there will be more people who are okay with having all of those, you know, other things.
You touched on something that I forgot about, and I'm glad you said it that way because it made me think of, we are a male and a female dominated species. If a male does not inseminate the egg of a female, there's no life. Mm-hmm. And so those two aspects are necessary for us to continue.
Oh, no.
100%. How else are we going to live? You have to put babies in women to continue the species, right? So that's what I'm just pondering.
There's sperm banks.
Okay, but I'm just pondering some shit because you need those two things to create life, right?
Right.
Okay. So what if everybody became fluid? Then what?
Well, if everyone becomes fluid, it's just a matter of pronouns. It's not like you're changing your body chemistry. Unless you mean that everyone suddenly becomes trans, but it's not like everyone's going to want to become trans. I know that literally 10 guys that are my friends would never be like, tomorrow I'm going to be a woman. Like, sure, they would love to have tits, but like they're not going to have that. They're not going to want to keep being a woman for the rest of their lives. They're men. They just want to be men. And so there's just going to be people that are completely fine with being a man or a woman. Okay. We're always going to have those people.
Okay, so I mean, I think at some point, I've had this conversation with so many people. I think at some point we won't have sex with each other anymore. I think you will just retrieve eggs and you'll retrieve sperm and then you'll test tube a fucking lab full of babies and then they'll be able to determine, I think they're almost there. They'll be able to determine the ones with Down syndrome and the ones with various inconsistencies, whatever you want to say, and they'll be able to choose which one is going to be the healthiest to survive.
Right.
And then, like, you won't even need to have that act to keep the...
forgive my candidacy. Forgive me for being candid, but I don't think any of my friends would stop having sex anytime soon.
Okay, so it has nothing to do with sex.
No.
Okay. So then explain to me what you being asexual, you're not attracted to male or female.
I'm not sexually attracted to anybody.
Okay, and why is that? You've never been physically attracted to anybody?
No.
That is very hard for me to understand.
Well, it's hard for me to understand too.
Okay.
Okay. So it's kind of like you're hungry. Like, it's like you're hungry, but you don't want to eat. It's being asexual is really weird because it's like, okay, how do I explain this to people when I don't know what your experience is like?
Okay.
And it's always really difficult for me to explain what it's like. But basically, it's like, okay, here, I live my life the way it is. I get told by my gynecologist, oh, you're like a grandma. You have like the libido of a fucking like 90-year-old. And it's like, okay, that, sure. But it's just more like I never have any desire, never have any of that urge. It's never towards any people. It's just I'm living my life, and I'm just like 2 years ago, I sat down with my friend and I was like, wait, you guys get horny? Like, that's not a joke. Like, you guys actually have to have sex sometimes. Like, it's like...
Well, I get it if you have like a low drive, but...
It's not even low drive. It's just like it's...
Okay, but like if there's no famous female actor or male actor that you see on TV and like something happens inside you. That doesn't happen.
No, I mean, I'm like, cool. Like, it's like, I don't know. Are you straight?
Yeah.
So imagine that literally to me, like you see a really hot guy on TV and you're like, okay, yeah, they're hot. But like, that's all. That's it. It's like, oh, they're really nice to look at and I can get why people are into them. But other than that, it's like, cool.
Okay. I understand that.
And that's how it is with everyone.
I see guys on TV and I understand why they're attractive, but I'm not attracted to them. I get that. But the fact that you don't feel it either way is very unique. You understand that, right?
Yeah, no, we're pretty rare. It's really hard to find someone who's asexual.
What happens if you meet somebody and then your head explodes? You just like figure out what that's like. That might be the coolest thing ever.
Well, sure, maybe that could happen, which is definitely the rhetoric that a lot of people tell us. It's, oh, maybe you'll find the right person and everything will change for you. And unfortunately, it hasn't. Unfortunately, it doesn't change. And a lot of people who are asexual feel broken all their lives because of it. Because when you do find someone and you realize, hey, even though I love you with all my heart, even though you mean more to me than anything, I still am not sexually attracted to you. And we're not seen as good partners. We're not seen as good people. We're ostracized by people who have any sexual attraction, and we're ostracized by LGBT too because we're practically straight. So.
What? LGBT views you as straight because you don't like either.
It's not necessarily like being straight as much as it's like, hey, the LGBT circle ostracizes us because they don't think that we go through any
why the fuck are
discrimination.
They judging you? Why are they judging you? Aren't they the ones being judged all the time? Don't they know what that's like?
Yeah, I know. But they don't think we're going through any judgment, and so they judge us.
That seems very ridiculous.
It is very ridiculous.
I don't mean to judge you. I just find it's like if you met somebody who really liked dolphins, like everything in their house was dolphins, you'd just be like, okay, they like dolphins. Like, you don't meet somebody that isn't attracted to either. That's a fucking horrible analogy. I'm sorry. I was trying to find it. It didn't come to me. You don't meet people very often that aren't attracted to either sex.
Right.
And so does that bother you? Like, do you wish that you were?
When I was younger, I did. I really desperately wanted it to suddenly make sense. I really desperately wanted it to click. I wanted to understand why everyone around me was going through their transformations of, oh, I really want to kiss this guy in my class, when all I wanted to do was make them shut up. So, yeah, of course I wanted to understand. I wanted to be a part of this whole world that other people can just see through. It's in the movies. It's in my friends' conversations. It's everywhere around me, and I've never been able to tap into that. So
you never had a crush on a boy or anything?
I've had a crush on a boy.
Yeah, but you didn't quite know what it was.
It's like, you know what it is? It's like you have all the emotion there. It's just that's it.
Do you think you would know if it happened? If you've never really felt it before, do you think you would know if it happened?
Yeah.
Yeah? What excites you? What is the equivalent of that? Being achieving something creatively?
The equivalent of having sexual desire?
I'm trying to find something. Like, what do you do in your life that means something to you that you appreciate? You're like, holy shit, I did that, or whatever. You're an artist.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you create something that you appreciate, that you love, that's gratifying, right? No?
I'm usually like, thank fucking God I'm done. I don't want to look at this ever again.
Yeah, no, I get that.
When I write something I'm really proud of and people compliment me on it, then I'm generally very excited.
Mm-hmm.
That's something I can be proud of for sure.
Yeah.
Art's like a toxic relationship for me. So
because it's difficult to get to where you can appreciate it, right?
Right.
Yeah. That's the curse of the artist, right? You fucking hate everything you do, mm-hmm. and the other people tell you it's awesome, and you're like, no, it's not.
Yeah, like it's really hard with art. Like, I know I'm a good writer, so that's just like on the table. But like with art, it's like you always. I mean, even with writing too. But like with art, it's like a visual like. Shit, I am always having to improve. There's always people out there that are better than me. Mm-hmm. With writing, it doesn't feel as personal. It's like, oh, they have like a different way that they write. They have a different way that they articulate things, and I can appreciate that. But when it comes to drawing, it's like, I still know that I fucking suck at drawing hands. I fucking suck at side profiles. Like, it's like you're constantly having to improve on those ends, and you're like, shit, and there's all these other people that are doing it just fine. Like, see, it's like it's different. I'm always feeling like I'm playing catch up.
I think that's important, though. That means that you are on a constant search to become a better you.
Yeah, of course.
If you were happy with it, then you would suck. Right?
Well, yeah. If you become stagnant, then for sure, like you're never like at some point, you're just not really creating anymore.
Yeah. So, do you have any desire to have kids?
Fuck no. Hey, kids.
They're pretty cool.
Yeah, I know. Guy with 3 kids.
You are a kid. You are someone's kid. Everyone is someone's kid.
Yeah, and I hated being a kid. I wanted to grow up immediately.
Why'd you hate being a kid?
Because I wanted to help my mom.
Yeah. Being a kid is hard sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have any control.
The disappointing part about being a kid is you don't realize that's as good as it gets.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Being an adult sucks.
It does.
You gotta be responsible for shit.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you spend your whole childhood wishing you could drink alcohol and drive cars and fucking go to Disneyland whenever you want. But then you get there and you're like, oh my God, now I have all these emotions and shit.
That wasn't it for me. As a kid, it was just more like, it was like I just didn't feel like I was able to. It was never like about drinking. It was never about driving a car. It was just like, I am a kid and no one's going to take me seriously because of it. I can't do anything. I'm literally liable towards my parents. I can't, like, what am I going to do? I have to watch as my mom struggles. Like, there's nothing I can do but just be a kid.
But feel helpless, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. So you don't want to have kids of your own. You feel like you're not searching for a man or a woman. So you're solid with you.
I want companionship, but it's a whole wrapped up tangle of trauma for me. It's like, yeah, I don't want to be lonely, but having to get into sitting down with someone and being like, hey, I'm asexual and I'm never going to like have the attraction in the way that you probably want me to, breaks my heart just thinking about it. And I had a really horrible experience when I was really young in which that I still have to heal from, that he told me that because of who I am, I wasn't enough for him. And so my whole life, I'm trying to heal from that relationship in which I need to know that I'm enough, despite the fact that I'm different, despite the fact that I can't bring everything to the table, and despite the fact that I will still love someone just as hard. It's not the same in a certain way.
But do you feel like you're not going to be enough because you don't feel sexual?
Yeah.
And that's like an important part of a relationship?
Yeah, we're all told that that's an important part of a relationship.
Well, yeah, I mean, maybe it isn't. I feel like it is because I'm pretty fucking sexual. But maybe you could meet someone else that's asexual.
Yeah.
I mean, that seems like that would be the best route, right?
That would be like the dream, but we're not like, it's kind of like when you kind of like introduce a gay guy to your gay best friend or something. It's like, you're both gay. Maybe you'll like each other, and aces are so rare. It's, I had like one ace friend in college and it was like, oh, thank God. Like you understand everything that I'm feeling, but we're like friends. It's like, I'm not attracted to her at all. So, sure, that would be like the dream. Like, hey, we both understand the like component in which that's just not there, but at the same time, you still have, you're still like attracted to people in the way that's like we're not gonna mesh, in a romantic way.
Well, maybe that's not necessary for you.
Maybe.
You sound like you want it to be, though.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool being in love with somebody.
Yeah.
I've done it a few times.
It's cool. Mostly sucks, though.
Oh, it can be fucking painful. Yeah, for sure. For sure. I mean, it can only be good for so long.
Yeah.
It's usually got to end somehow. Do you think you're just protecting yourself?
For sure. I know I am.
Yeah. So maybe you just got to wall up and you just got to let that wall down.
Yeah, which is what I'm working on. I'm a lot more open, nicer person than I was even 4 years ago, but it takes time. It's taking a really long time to take things down brick by brick because it's a lot. It's you hear a lot. Being asexual is difficult because people are always trying to fix you.
Do you think I'm trying to fix you?
No.
Okay, good. Good. I'm just asking you questions.
I know.
It's very interesting. It's very interesting. I sympathize with you because I think the majority of people are searching for something. It doesn't really matter what it is. You just don't feel fulfilled. And I think the majority of women, this is a blanket statement. I think the majority of women are convinced that what they're supposed to do is find the fucking quarterback, and you're cringing.
A little bit.
They're supposed to find Prince Charming, and they get married, and they have 2 kids, and they have the house, and everything's magical, and you got a Mercedes or a BMW in the driveway.
The little box.
Yeah. And then I've met a lot of women. You do that.
I've met a lot of women.
I'm just saying, like, I know a lot of people who've been in that position. You know what I mean? And they're not happy.
Yeah, of course. Because it's the dream that we get sold on, but it's not actually what we want.
No, I don't think anybody knows what they want. You are sold a story, like you said, and then you go and do it, and then you're like, oh, but like, why don't I feel good?
Yeah.
Why am I not happy?
Right.
And so I think everybody's just like constantly searching for the thing.
They're trying to figure it out.
Well, and the thing comes and you don't realize it. And then you're like, oh, shit. I had the thing.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, the thing is gone. What am I doing now? You know?
You gotta find it again.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, you just...
I mean, I have a friend who's aromantic, which is the opposite of me. It's you never fall in love with anyone. And
it's like an actual term, aromantic?
Yes.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah. And she is she has her own difficulties on the other end, which is really funny for us because we're complete opposites, but we understand each other because she gets people that after sexual relations are like, hey, you know, I love you. And she's like, okay, well, I set this out as, you know, I can care a lot about you. Being aromantic is not uncaring, but it's still aromantic. So she has troubles on her own end because she loves to be close to people, and that's still a thing that can possibly happen, just that the love's not there.
She desires to be close to someone, but she doesn't love them?
It's, you know how, like, you can love your friends?
Sure.
It's like that. It's, you can still love someone, you can still be close to someone, but do not have any of that desire to, like, I don't, like, what even is the word for that? It's, like, not the desire to, like, be romantic with them.
Do you think we don't know what love is? You think we haven't figured it out yet? After thousands of years?
I think we're still figuring it out. I think it's different for everyone.
Yeah, right?
I feel like we all love differently.
Yeah. Well, and it's fleeting too. I mean, you feel different at different points of the day. There's a lot of hormones involved.
Not for me.
It's a crazy world.
Yeah.
It's a crazy world.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, what if it takes over, like I think it will, and we just wear VR goggles all the time? Mm-hmm. Do you think that could be better for everyone if they get to choose who they want to be all the time? Do you think people feel more free?
Maybe.
Maybe everybody's restricted right now and they don't even know it. And you're like on the cusp of like some monumental shift in evolution.
I'd be more happy with if we went to the Cyberpunk and we're just like, hey, let's just modify our bodies the way we want. But yeah, sure, VR, I guess. It's just like, you know, I log into my fucking MMO character every day. Like, okay, I already have that person that I get to be sometimes with other people, like whatever, but it's not really the same.
But that's the thing, though. Don't you always want something else? Like, so I have this theory that in the future that you will be able to rent space in someone's brain. Like, for example, just because of how famous she is, you could rent an hour in Kim Kardashian's brain where you get to...
I would literally lose brain cells.
There's no brain cells in there. You could, but you understand what I'm saying? You could pay 10 grand for an hour to be in her. And maybe you get to, I don't know that you could control her, but maybe you just get to witness what she decides and what she does. I think that's a thing. You could be LeBron James.
That's horrible.
It sounds horrible, but do you know how many people would pay money to do that?
Yeah, I know. I feel like we're in a Get Out situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, potentially. But that is a thing that if you could put a price tag on that and you could sell the experience of being you, I mean, that's kind of what people do right now. When you're on Instagram or whatever, you are subscribing to the life of that person.
Right.
And so if you could be inside their brain and experience what it's like to be them, like so many people would pay for that.
Oh, for fucking sure.
Yeah.
For fucking sure. I would stay away from me, but yeah,
there's someone on this planet. You don't have to say who it is if you don't want to, but there's someone on this planet that you would enjoy being inside their brain.
No.
No?
No.
You like you that much.
Yeah.
But you said that you would change your body.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you... Do you understand the disconnect there? If you would change your body, then you would be someone else.
It would still be me.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
It's still me.
That's the weird thing, though. Like, no disrespect to people that have had plastic surgery, because it's pretty common. People get Botox, people get fake titties, people get things implanted in their butt cheeks. Like, it's a crazy world, okay? If that is considered okay, and that is people changing their bodies without, like, physically working towards it,
right?
What is the difference than being
there
inside
is no difference.
Kim Kardashian's mind?
Oh, God. Because you want to, like, when you're changing your body, it's wanting to feel better about yourself. It's wanting to be better about who you are as a person. When you're just going to some other motherfucker's brain, you're just subscribing to somebody else.
Yeah. But what if you could be any shape you wanted? Wouldn't everybody pick the same shape? Wouldn't everybody?
No.
Wouldn't women pick the most voluptuous curves and whatever, and dudes would be all fucking stacked and what? Like, wouldn't most people choose kind of the same thing?
I mean, maybe. I think
that's kind of the cool thing about being me and being you is you're you.
Yeah.
I can appreciate you for you.
Yeah.
You're not like the quintessential, you're not template A, you know? You're you.
Right.
So that makes you unique.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people are accepting of their unique features. And, I mean, yeah, we do get the fucking magazines. We get the templates. We want to be that sort of like Hail Mary, you know? Mm-hmm. But I just...
Pass.
It's like... who, like, for example, like, if I'm interested in a bunch of artists, there's no quintessential, like, obviously there's, like, good artists, but there's no quintessential, like, one artist. It's like, I love a bunch of these things. Mm-hmm. And so you're going to when it comes into an art style, you're combining all of the things that inspire you. So when it comes to a body, you're combining all of the things that you want. It's going to end up different from all the things that someone else might want. I mean, sure, some people are gonna be like, I just want to be the perfect thing that everybody wants, but even that changes. Even even our standard of what the perfect body is changes from generation to generation. So it's not a static thing. It's not something that we're all just going to work towards forever.
Yeah, you're right. It does kind of change over time, huh? I've thought about that before. Like if you had a time machine and you went back 100, 200, 500,000 years, the idea of what was physically attractive is dramatically different from now.
Correct.
And like, what's it going to be in the future? I don't know. And especially if everybody can choose. Because the majority of people are disappointed with the way they look. Are they not?
Yeah.
Why is that a thing? Why can't people just... Why is that a thing?
I mean, depends. It depends if you're a young girl and have been seeing really beautiful photoshopped women on magazines. It depends on if you're not feeling right in your body. It depends on a whole bunch of things.
Did you feel that way when you were young? Did you compare yourself to magazines and stuff like that?
I was a tomboy and didn't look at magazines.
So who'd you compare yourself to?
I didn't compare myself to anybody. I didn't look at myself in the mirror at all. I thought girls were fucking annoying, and I had to stand next to a classmate of mine because I walked her to school and she always made me late because she took an hour to do her makeup. And I was like, why wouldn't you fucking wake up earlier then?
How long did it take you to do your makeup?
Late high school, early college. And my mom is still way better. I know how to do one thing and I can't do anything else.
I thought you were going to say, I didn't do my fucking makeup.
I sat down for my mom's like, Mom, can you do my makeup?
Yeah, that's one of the downsides to being a lady. Dudes don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
Like, you're lucky if we take a shower. And then some women will spend hours getting ready.
Fucking men.
We're the worst, right?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, so next question. Do you feel disconnected from other generations? Do you feel like you and people of your age and younger have things figured out and everybody else is just like stumbling around in the dark?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, we're stumbling too, but I feel like, especially like I was talking to my mom about the other day about our grandparents. Like, they're never going to understand. They were in these neat little houses with like they believed in what they were told. They had so limited information. They had just this sort of like, this is the way it is. This is the way it is. If you were married, you're just a woman. You're married to that man. It doesn't matter if he's horrible to you. It doesn't matter if there's domestic abuse. It's just, all right, he's cheating on me. Okay. This is how it is. This is what we're just going to work with because I am a housewife. I'm going to be in the home with the husband. And, you know, they just don't understand because they were forced to stay the way that they were. And they were not allowed to be anything else.
It was more difficult for that reason, but it was easier because you could find a decent job and you could buy a house and you could do all those things that everybody thought that you could do. And now it's so difficult to make enough money to survive. Like, most people have trouble renting an apartment.
Yeah.
And so it's this weird disconnect where older people think like you should just be able to get a job anywhere and then you buy a house and you can afford a car and all this kind of stuff. But like, that's not how it is anymore.
No.
And then it gets put out that you're lazy or you're not trying that hard.
Yeah.
You're like, well, things are a little different now.
Yeah, my grandma was like, oh, just get a job from like the government. They'll like take care of you. I was like, yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay. It's a weird time with the way that COVID affected everything and how everybody lots of people went on unemployment and then they didn't need to go back to their jobs. And so now there are tons of places that can't get the workers that they need. And then like Taco Bell is paying $18 an hour. Like there's so many more opportunities to make money. People can just quit their job in a heartbeat and go get a new job wherever they want.
Sure. It's different. It's a lot of people coming to the realization that they have been in shitty jobs that treat them really terrible and don't value them at all. And realizing, shit, you know what? I'm at a point where I can say no.
Yeah.
And everyone's asking for more. They're asking for livable wages. They're asking for better quality of life. And talk about like fucking food service is one of the hardest fucking jobs you could ever do. I think everyone should have a food service job. I think it would be really humbling because it's like when someone goes, oh, you know, you can't be working at a coffee shop for the rest of your life. You can't be working at an entry-level coffee job. Mm-hmm. But what are you going to do if those people are all gone? You're still going to want your coffee.
Yeah.
So I feel like we need to value every job that people are doing.
For sure. I had some shitty jobs. I worked at a Quiznos for a while. I worked, at a number of food service type places. And yeah, those places made me appreciate treating people with respect.
Yeah.
And, when a place closes at 9:00 and you show up at 8:55 and you're like, oh, yes, you're still open? Like that used to happen to me all the time. I'd be like, fuck, man, we already cleaned everything. You want me to make a sandwich right now?
Yeah.
So if I go anywhere and I know they close in 30 minutes, I won't even eat there.
Yeah.
Because I know what that feels like.
Yeah.
And so many people have never had a job like that. They don't get it.
Yeah, they don't get it.
Yeah. So I agree with you. That's an important thing. I know some people who just got lucky and stumbled into whatever they're doing, and they've never had to like start at like a really bottom level position, and that like totally builds character and helps you become a better person if you can deal with the wrath of normal people. Normal people suck.
Normal people suck so bad. I worked at Little Big Burger for like 6 months, and it was probably the worst. It's like the worst. It's like, holy shit, these burgers don't even taste good. Like, why do you care about this burger so goddamn much?
And they're expensive too.
Yeah.
They're like $8 for a little tiny burger.
Yeah, and I used to get stomach aches after eating them. So on my breaks, I would just make myself some bacon and like an egg. Like that was it. Like I didn't even eat the food that we had there.
Oh wow, that's the best part about working at those jobs. I used to make the most incredible sandwiches when I worked at Quiznos. Take them home. I just make fucking monsters and take them home and eat half for lunch and then half for dinner.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to take back any of that food though. Just like the fries, maybe.
What happened after 6 months?
First, I have scoliosis really bad. So being on my feet for a long time was really taxing on me physically.
Yeah.
And I would have to just like, even if my shift was 5 hours, I would have to like collapse when I got home.
Wow.
And I would be like inconsolable for at least 24 hours. And then it would just be like back to it. And it was really difficult for me physically. And then also just like we would have the rush periods and there'd be like 30 to 40 burgers on the grill and everybody can't breathe. They can't take a break. We're just moving from one thing to the other. And we're all in this cramped space and people are waiting and impatient and unkind. And that's taxing in your brain too. And then I had a fucking superior who was my assistant manager who was just an ass for no reason and super smug about it too. And it was like, I was getting to a point where I was about to like chew his head off. My mom was like, girl, you can't do that. And, everyone around me was like looking for other jobs and they were like, at a certain point, you just don't care.
That's the worst part is that you don't care. Mm-hmm. You don't care. And they expect you to be like you're the CEO of fucking Microsoft or something. You're like, dude, I'm making a burger for $9 an hour. What do you want me to do?
Yeah, it's like, I'm going to sit in the back and be on my phone. Fuck you. Like, I'm not going to just walk around cleaning things. That's not my problem.
Oh, wow. I was hoping you were going to say you like stood on the counter and took your shirt off and like threw it at somebody and walked out.
No, I really liked my manager, actually. Like, my manager was really sweet. So I was just like, I'm really sorry, but I don't think I can, work here anymore. I'll put in my 2 weeks. And he was like, I totally get it. But
he's like, somebody just quit like 9 minutes ago. It's cool.
Yeah, like I always showed up. Like there's only 2 expectations: don't steal and show up to your fucking shift. That's it. Yeah. And that assistant manager made it so hard. He was a piece of work. So I decided after I quit to send a really long text to our regional manager, and he got moved away from our location. So I really pulled it in for everybody who still worked there.
Nice.
But then I looked for a job for like 3 months.
Looking for a job sucks. I was thinking about that the other day. When you have a job, it's so much easier to interview because you go in there and you're all confident and you're like, whatever, you gonna hire me? You can hire me if you want to. You don't care. But when you don't have a job, you come in looking all desperate and they can tell you're just like sleeping in a tent out on Burnside and they're like, oh, I don't know.
Which is horrible. I don't like the whole like little dance you do in the interview. Like it's like, yeah, I want this job. Just give me the goddamn job.
It's weird because also they have to evaluate you for who you are and what you look like and how you make eye contact and how you speak. Like there's so many factors that go into it that you can't even like fully rationalize.
Like, I get it. Like, okay, you want to make sure that I'm not a psycho, but at a certain point, it's like, okay, like, I want to do this job. I want to learn as best I can. I'm going to bring everything to the table.
Just give me a paycheck.
Yeah.
Just let me come in.
Yeah.
I'll sell you my time for some money. Okay?
Yeah.
What do you think? You think it's going to get easier?
It just seems to be getting harder.
Yeah?
Yeah. I still haven't found a job.
It's tough to find a job right now. I'm very fortunate that I have had a job throughout COVID. It's a tough time.
Yeah, I had a job throughout COVID and I didn't take those unemployment checks, which sucked. Because for some reason, Big Burger must stand. And then I went into that office job and I became more depressed than I think I ever have been in my life.
It was like a 9 to 5 in a cubicle. Yeah, I couldn't do that.
And I was a financial assistant and I created invoices and moved money around and called people who were late on payments and got mad at them. And then after, the worst part was, it was like, I am a really fast worker. I'm really quick. I'm really quick on the uptake. I finished my training before everyone else. Everyone was really crazy about it. And because I finish things fast, it's suddenly my job to pick up the slack of everybody else.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you're done with your duties for the day? Great. Pick up someone else's duties. What the fuck?
Yeah.
At a certain point, I was sitting there in the job and I was like, I've got like 2 emails this morning. I'm going to wait 4 hours to do these 2 emails. Because otherwise I'd be sent to the call center doing shit that I really didn't want to do.
Yeah.
And I just didn't want to do any of it. And I was just sitting at that desk feeling like I was rotting alive.
There are a lot of jobs that aren't going to exist. They're not going to be necessary. Like I pumped gas for a long time because do you know what 2 states require that somebody pumps gas for you are?
This one.
Oregon,
Yeah.
and New Jersey.
Yeah.
I pumped gas for probably like 3 years, and I enjoyed it. It was fun for a number of reasons, but that is not something you need a person to do.
No.
People know how to pump gas. It's
Yeah.
not fucking rocket science. And so that's a thing that should disappear. Like, I don't know why that's a thing. And then there's going to be positions like answering 2 emails a day. That doesn't need to happen. There are better uses of your brain and your physical being.
Yeah, that's what breaks my heart. 'Cause it's like, shit, I wish I could just be paid to do the things that I love. You know? It's really difficult to do that.
That's the goal. You
Yeah.
gotta find the thing that you love and get somebody to pay for it.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's
really easy.
it's not.
No, it's not. I'm good.
Because at a certain point, it's like, do I even love this anymore? Because I'm monetizing every fucking aspect of it.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, that's the downside to it, is because it's fun when you're not required to do it for money. It's
like bless my mom's heart, but like sometimes it's like, oh yeah, I wrote this thing and it was really great and I really loved doing it, and my friend was so happy. My mom was like, well, have you thought about selling it? No. Like I feel like everything I do, even recreationally, is like, okay, well, find a way to monetize it. Like, I get it. Like, you need the independent, like, fucking money streams, like, coming in from stuff that is seamless for you. But at the same time, it's like, I don't want to monetize every single aspect of my life.
Well, what if we don't need money? Then what? Like, then you sell. We go back in time, and you just sell your goat's milk for the cobbler to fix your shoes. Right?
Yeah.
You just trade services.
Yeah. I wish some really rich person would be like, I want you to paint on my walls. I'd be like, cool. And that would be it, you know?
You just need to become Banksy. Just do stuff and don't let anybody know it's you. And then...
But how the fuck is that person being paid?
NFTs? I don't know. I think they did some, I don't know who it is. Like, I don't think anybody knows who it is. If it's like a group of people or if it's a man or a woman or whatever.
We don't know, yeah.
But something happened. I wish I could remember fully, and I don't want to look it up right now. Something happened where it was like a self-destructing, you know what I'm talking about? It was some sort of like self-destructing painting or picture or something. Like, whoever does that stuff is very, they do things outside the box. Like, they really are able to create new items. And so they've been able to tap into that whole thing. But like, you can't...
Do you notice they're using they right now?
I did notice that. But I'm talking about a person I don't know who it is. That's why I'm using it. Okay. I hear you. The weird thing about being an artist, though, is the majority of them don't get to experience it while they're alive.
Yeah.
Like, look at Van Gogh.
Yeah.
Dude went crazy, chopped his ear off, painted what is regarded as some of the most important paintings in the world. He was poor as fuck forever.
I read his diary. He was the saddest man.
Oh, yeah. His life was terrible.
And only his brother ever really believed in him and would, like, sell his paintings. And he was in, like, asylums. He was just sitting there painting. And it's just like he wasn't recognized his whole life. He thought his paintings were shit.
Yeah. You know how terrible that is?
Yes!
He never got to, he died and no one knew who he was. And now he's like one of the most famous people ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's eating snails and like sleeping in the grass and probably had one jacket ever. Mm-hmm. His brother supporting it. He must have felt like such a piece of shit.
He did.
Yeah.
He absolutely did.
Yeah. But that's also the thing, right? That's what makes good art, is there's a struggle. If you're just Trump's offspring, you're not going to create good art because you got all the money in the world.
Yeah, well, art comes from pain.
Yeah.
For sure. I feel like, well, it could come from joy too. I feel like art comes from any strong emotion, but definitely a lot of your well of experiences, the way that art can move people is because you have been through some shit. And everyone's like, oh, I've been through that shit too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's about relating to some aspect, right?
Yeah.
So maybe you just need to relate to Kim Kardashian. You just don't know it.
I'd literally rather die.
If that becomes a thing and I can buy space in Kim's brain for 10 grand, I'm going to do that for you. Okay.
And I would tell you to refund your money.
It's going to get so weird. It's going to get so weird.
Now, if someone paid me $10,000 to be in my brain, I'd be like, cool, I'm taking your money. Good fucking luck. But, you know, I don't want to be anyone else's.
Would you rent out your brain?
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone would be interested, but if you're going to pay me, fuck it. Go ahead.
I bet you'd be surprised. That's the weird thing, is that you don't get to be in anyone's brain except your own. Mm-hmm. I'd pay money to be anybody's brain. Mm-hmm. I'd pay money to be in my 7-year-old's brain. You know how insane that would be. Mm-hmm. What is it like to be a 7-year-old when you know what it's like to be an adult? That's wild. I'd pay so much money for that. Mm-hmm. Or to be, what if you could pay money to be like in the brain of a 100-year-old? They're just like old and wise and they just take forever to like make oatmeal and stuff.
I think it would just make me sad.
Yeah.
I don't want to be in another person's brain.
That means you like you.
No.
Okay, well that's good.
It's just like, okay, sure, it would be nice to know what 7 is like again, but I'm not 7 anymore. Or sure, it'd be really cool to know this 100-year-old person's wisdom, but why can't I just ask them?
I don't know. I don't know what it's like to be anybody else but me. Maybe I have a subpar experience. Maybe I have a really awesome experience. I don't know. I think it's pretty cool being me, but I'm me, so I don't know. Maybe it's really cool being you. Maybe it's really
super cool.
I can tell. I've only known you for an hour, but I can tell.
It's being sarcastic, but sure, yeah.
It's so weird. It's like you can eat at the same restaurant as somebody. You can ride a water slide. Mm-hmm. You can know what it's like to buy a car or buy fucking whatever, something cool. Like those are all experiences, but you don't know what it's like to feel it from that other person's perspective. People don't know what it's like to be...
Wasn't that why you read books?
Well, if you have a good imagination.
And you don't?
I do, for sure. There's some wild shit going on up here, I tell you what. Yeah. I think that's a good spot.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure.
I think we have a lot more to talk about, but I think that's a good spot to end it right now.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Thank you.